Do you think that this could well be the culmination of this now? The police, although they're not telling us exactly what it is, the German police, they say that this is intelligence-led. It implies something, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think yesterday we didn't know why. It was very, very tight-lipped, and today we see that they are working on intelligence. And I think this is led by the German side of the sort of try that's in it. You know, the Met are a watching brief. Everyone has a role to play. They are all working closely together, and the sort of Met are, you know, at the forefront of it. But they would all know what the intelligence is. But obviously it's specific, which is obviously something, is the reason why they're back there, and is probably the most important update we've had for quite a while.
Because we've been led down the garden path, Madeleine's family really have been led down the garden path, haven't they, numerous different times, lots of false dawns. Does this just feel a bit different to you?
Not necessarily. We don't know what the credibility of the tip-off is, for example. So, you know, the German authorities feel that it is that credible that they need to act upon it. So it is something which obviously needs to be done.
Indeed. And look, I've got to ask this really. I mean, clearly, until anything conclusive emerges otherwise, there is still a hope that Madeleine might be alive. Where are you on that? Do you think that there's any chance whatsoever?
Well, I think you always have to hold out chance, don't you? I mean, there's thousands of missing people in this country, and even more so, obviously, around the world. And everybody who, you know, unless you have any concrete evidence to suggest that they've come to any harm or they're somewhere else, then you always got to hold out that hope, and the family will, and those that investigate still do as well. And
this reservoir was searched quite soon after Madeleine initially went missing. I believe it was a private investigation. I think a lawyer at the time decided that this was a particular place of interest. It will be absolutely galling for the family if the worst-case scenario happens, Madeleine turns out to be somewhere in this vicinity, to know that this could have been wrapped up years ago.
Well, I think, like you say, that previous time it was searched, and it was searched twice, it was in 2008. And they did find some bones at that time, but they were ruled out.
Right.
And it was privately done. And if you were the police involved in that, or you had that intelligence now, you want to make sure it's done to that standard, not the standard of a private investigation or privately funded search. So things are done very differently. The systems and the processes that the police will put in place will be much more meticulous than what has been done before. And they say 80% is being done on land and 20% in the water. So there's obviously that specific intelligence is suggesting that, you know, there's more information or more evidence to be found on land than there is within the reservoir itself.
There were some initial reports, again, want to emphasise this was unconfirmed, but it was just initial reports this morning about some potential photographs that this person of interest, or suspect really, let's be honest, Christian B, or Christian Bruckner, may have had in his possession, and that we understand maybe is one of the reasons behind why they are searching this particular area. We'll have to wait for confirmation on that. But the German authorities, in your capacity, of course, with someone with your massive police experience, you must have had some interaction with German authorities, I imagine, at the time. What are they like? I mean, from what I can gather, they're normally relatively conservative. They are adamant, aren't they, that they believe they've got their guy?
They certainly do, and that's you know, is seen by all the things they say in their own press and their own releases around Christian B. And I think that you know, that information will be supported, if it is obviously true, supported by the UK police and the Portuguese authorities. But they have to persuade the Portuguese to allow them to do these sort of things first, to convince them that they have something which is credible to be allowed to search. So they have to seek authority from the Portuguese, because it is their jurisdiction.